Yes. It must be yes.
You know, he did record.
Right. All right. You ready?
Anybody want to make public comment before I take the form away?
Yes.
You do?
Okay. All right. Time is now 7:01. We're going to again call the meeting to order. Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez, Trustee Williams,
Here.
Trustee Jones,
Here.
Trustee Lightfoot, Trustee Peppers,
Here.
Trustee Brandon, Mayor Booker,
Here.
quorum present.
All right. Director Banks, if you can come up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good
Our
evening.
invocation tonight will be led by Reverend Ronald Beeman, pastor of the New Life in Christ Bible Church, located at 1642 South 15th Avenue in Maywood, which experienced a devastating fire on December 26, 2022, which resulted in a total loss of property. Church services are now temporarily held at the Broadview Park District every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. The church plans to rebuild. If you would like to learn more about how you can support their GoFundMe campaign efforts, please visit their Facebook page. Reverend Beeman.
God bless you, and thank you to the mayor and to the trustees. It's a blessing to be here tonight. I'm excited and humbled. Let's go to God in prayer. Gracious God, our Father, as we come in the precious name of Jesus, we thank you, O God, for giving us this opportunity to be together. Father, we pray tonight for the village of Maywood and its mayor, all of the officials. Father, that you would give us wisdom and directions, how to make decisions concerning this village and your people. God, we thank you for all that is being accomplished. We thank you for the buildings that are going up. We thank you for the streets that are being repaired. And we thank you, God, for this great assembly that is here present tonight. Give us direction and wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
services that the Village of Maywood received acknowledgement of. And we extend condolences and prayers to the families in our community that have experienced a recent loss. Ms. Tammy Abney Hilson, longtime Maywoodian and retired Village of Maywood minibus driver, passed away on last month. Her services were held on June the 3rd. Mr. Rick Wilson, longtime Maywoodian and legendary Proviso East basketball player, passed away. His services were held on yesterday. Please join us in congratulating Trustee Miguel Jones on his successful completion of the Oak Park River Forest Community Foundation Leadership Lab 4 development and identifying urgent needs of the West Cook community. Congratulations, Trustee Jones. I just would like to acknowledge the following proclamations. The Village of Maywood has a proclamation in recognition of Juneteenth. I will just read just a portion of it, whereas June 19th, 2023 is the 158th year of Juneteenth Freedom Day, a nationally recognized day celebrating the rich culture, heritage, and legacy of African Americans. Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolishment of slavery in the United States, dating back to June 19, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas with the news that the war had ended, freeing the enslaved. Therefore, Mayor Nathaniel Booker and the Board of Trustees proclaim Monday, June 19, 2023, to be Juneteenth Independence Day in the Village of Maywood. We would also like to recognize the month of June is Pride Month, whereas the Village of Maywood recognizes and proclaims the month of June 2023 as LGBTQI plus Pride Month throughout the Village of Eternal Light, whereas all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. All individuals have an immeasurable impact to the cultural, civic, and economic successes of our country. We would also like to recognize June as National Caribbean Heritage Month, whereas the commemoration of National Caribbean Heritage Month was adopted by the U.S. House of Representatives in 2005 to recognize the significance of Caribbean people and their descendants in the history and culture of the United States. A resolution was passed in the Senate in February of 2006, and President George H.W. Bush issued the proclamation in June of 2006. Therefore, the Mayor and Board of Trustees, on behalf of hereby proclaim, June as Caribbean American Heritage Month and encourage all citizens to celebrate the many contributions of Caribbean Americans and continue to fight against systematic injustices impacting the Caribbean American community. Just a few upcoming events. Just a reminder, tomorrow we will host the second Reimagine Maywood Community Design Meeting at 7:30 a.m. at the Maywood Masonic Temple Building, which is located at 200 South 5th Avenue. Residents will have an opportunity to come in and hear more about the revitalization of our 5th Avenue downtown district and Veterans Park, and also give their feedback and ideas on what that area should look like. We will host our first annual Caribbean Festival this Saturday, June 24th, from 12 to 8 p.m. It will be held at the Central Park Area District, which is located at 8th and School Street, right behind the Maywood Park District. Come for an afternoon of great entertainment, food, and lots of fun activities for all ages. Summer Teens Enrichment Program has officially started this week for grades 6 through 12, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday at the Maywood Masonic Building. Please bring your teens so that they will have an opportunity to engage with other teenagers, but also have some positive, fun and educational activities throughout the summer months. An honorary street dedication ceremony will be held in honor of Mr. Eugene Moore on Saturday, July 15th at 11 o'clock a.m. For additional information, please check our website at maywood-il.gov. An honorary street sign in honor of Mrs. Northcutt Hillary Stone was unveiled on this past Saturday, June 17th, during a special ceremony and Juneteenth celebration in collaboration with Operation Uplift. That sign is located on the corner of 5th and St. Charles Road. And that's the announcements.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Trustee Green.
I wanted to announce to the community on July the 15th, starting at 2 p.m., we have to make some arrangements with the time. I will be hosting opportunity to connect with the residents over at AME Italian Ice over on 12th and Madison Street, and that will be starting at 2 p.m. at AME Italian Ice to connect with the residents. All of the residents in the village of Maywood are invited to partake and attend that particular event. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Banks. Yeah, that's regulation. Thanks.
Apologies. At this time, we will recognize our police personnel, our Officer Donna Lewis and Lieutenant Eric Ditt for their completion of the Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command. Will Deputy Chief Yancey please come forward?
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, clerk,
Good evening, sir.
and all the citizens of the beautiful village of Maywood. Thank you a lot. We're here to celebrate two officers. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for coming out, especially the family and friends for coming out to partake in our officers' accomplishments. And I want to thank the board for helping me send these officers, myself, and Deputy Chief Willis wants everyone to know he misses you all, and he will be back very, very soon. Okay? Very, very soon. Very, very soon. Right back. Okay. First, we have Officer Lewis step forward. Officer Lewis is a longtime resident of Maywood. Matter of fact, she's been here her whole life. Okay? She's a 25-year veteran from the Maywood Police Department. Throughout her tenure, she has accepted many assignments and continued to help lead this department from her patrol stand. She was sent to Staff and Command School by Chief Willis. She wants to really express to him how thankful she is for his the way he has recognized her and the way he wants everybody in this department, no matter where you stand or what position you hold, to move forward. Officer Lewis just lists a couple of her accomplishments. She's a field training officer. She's an evidence technician. She was the first female voted by her peers to be the union president. She served as a court and property officer and liaison. She has participated in numerous functions outside of the police department and within. And for the past 2 years, she has been a part of the peer support group, which she says is one of the biggest and most important accomplishments she's done thus far in the police department. With all these tasks that she's done, she still takes time to officiate high school and collegiate basketball. Officer Lewis would like you also to know that she took time away from her family and friends who were dedicated to her graduating from the Lewis University with honors as she sought and got through her master's degree program. So she accomplished that in 2020 with encouragement. Everyone who stayed on her back to make sure she pulled through and went through with the program. Today she is here with her husband, Lieutenant Mobley of the Maywood Police Department, retired. She is also here with her son, David Walton, her mother, Ella Spalding, her nephew, O'Shea Lewis, and her sister, Crystal Spalding, and many families and friends and everyone else that she would love to thank in the audience. Everyone give a round of applause. Present to you, Officer Dynamo. All right. Last but not least, Lieutenant Dent. All right. Second person we're going to honor today and recognize is Lieutenant Dent. Lieutenant Dent, along with Lewis, went to one of the most challenging law enforcement management programs given by Northwestern University Police School Staff and Command. He's joined tonight by his wife, Andrea Dent, and Kaylee Dent, his daughter. Lieutenant Dent started his career in 1997 here in the village of Maywood, and he still serves today with a servant's heart. He is dedicated to bettering himself as a law enforcement officer, and that is evident by his continuing to educate himself in the law enforcement profession and the profession of public safety. Lieutenant Dent earned a bachelor's degree in technical management and in a concentration of criminal justice and a master's degree in criminology. His long-term goal, and a lot of people don't think long-term, so I'm proud of him for doing this. Long-term goal is to earn his PhD in criminal justice and to become a collegiate professor to continue educating other people in the way of law enforcement. That is not looked at today as the greatest field, but I will challenge anyone to say it's not. It takes a real servant to continue doing this job for 20-something years. Okay? So I commend him for wanting to teach. He finished by finishing the Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command. Lieutenant Dent, along with Donna, have joined an elite group of alumni of senior law enforcement leaders around the globe. Congratulations to Lieutenant Dent. I'll give him a round of applause. Andrea, please step forward. He's told me you guys have practiced this for hours and days. So, all right. Okay, I want all the families to come up front, take a quick picture. Donna, all your families. then we're gonna get one with them and then all y'all around. Okay, go ahead.
So,
Yeah, all right.
1, 2, 3, Maywood.
Hold on. More.
Come on,
Come on, don't be shy.
y'all ain't shy.
Let's get it.
Come on.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, Maywood.
Trustees, mayor, we all come down and take a picture with our officers.
One, two, three, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Maywood.
Well done.
Thank you. And then, the board, if you could stay here, I want you to take a picture with Pastor.
Yeah, I got you. Maywood. I got you.
Mama Robinson. All right. Congratulations to everybody who's doing fabulous things in the village of Maywood. One thing that I did forget to say in the announcements, this Thursday at the Burton Park, there'll be movies in the park by the Maywood Park District, and they will be playing Black Adam. So movies in the park on 6th and Washington Boulevard when the sun goes down. So come out and have a good time. All right. 5, approval of minutes for committee of the whole and the village special board meetings of the Board of Trustees on Tuesday, May 16th and Tuesday, May 30th. I need a motion.
So move.
Motion by trustee Brandon, need a second.
Second.
Second by trustee Williams. Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Sanchez,
Aye.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Lightfoot, trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon,
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. 8, finance management report. So financial report in the amount of $1,799,444.44. And then B, warrant list 200538, dated June 16th through 2023, in the amount of $3,641,382.77. Does anybody have any questions for Director Satchel? Thank you, Director Satchel. All right. 9, President's report. So we have a couple items. Does anybody have any questions in regards to anything that's in the report? All right, we'll move on to public comment. Public comment, you have 3 minutes. You have to give your name, you do not have to give your address.
Ms. Loretta Robinson.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
President,
agenda, there was only one demolition order that's in place. I have spoken with Mr. Duncan, and we have many demolitions to take place. So I understand that this one is a grant somehow. It's the only one that's on the agenda to be demolished. Someone, Mayor, you could do it, or one of the trustees. I'm interested in knowing what is the percentage of demolitions that's going to take place this year. It's still half the year, and out of the number that he gave me for demolition, one on the agenda tonight is not enough. And if there are grants that are being given to the village for this demolition project, I would like to know how many there are that are going to take place. I've got 2 buildings right now in the 400 block, pardon me, on 16th Avenue. They are my neighbors, and they've been dead 20 years. And their homes have been broken into, vandalized, everything has happened to them. There's 2 buildings. One is only recently vacated, but I don't know what he's using as a criteria for making these demolitions. And it would be nice for the citizens to know what is the criteria and how many more are going to be demolished for the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Stu Redmond?
Mr. Redmond. I'd like to know why the Park District has their own funds. And why is it every time on the agenda, funds are coming out of the village for the Maywood Park District? I'd like to know what, first of all, I think there probably should be an investigation going on here, because for one thing, too much money is going into the Maywood Park District, and for what reason? What reason? They get their own funds, so is that double dipping? Okay. Next, I see that we're paying $300,000 for the property on Rosebud Road. What will that be used for? Or will it be like the rest of the village property, left to go unattended for any number of years? Mold will grow in there, the ceiling, the roof will cave in, and many other things. I mean, there are department heads here that should be taking care of things like that. Yet still, we find out years later that there's mold growing in Maywood Market, which has been an eyesore, has been a problem in this business for years. It's been vacant for years, yet we lost $3.25 million in that building, plus $250,000 loan that was made on the building. They're right up to $300,000. Plus, we've been paying all this time for the building to be boarded up. That's just a cow that just keep on giving, keep on receiving, I should say. What is being done about these poor decisions? Like I said, there are department heads that should be overseeing these things, and they're not, apparently not. If they are, who are they telling about? Also, when is the big garbage pickup? I see tons of debris, furniture, and all kind of stuff, all out on the street. There's been a debris on, let's see, on Walnut between 2nd and 3rd. That has been there 3 weeks. Then there's a place on St. Charles, between 19th and 20th. A bunch of stuff that's been thrown out there. What's the criteria for that? Are they being, is that allowed? Will they be getting citations? What's really going on here? We're paying people to oversee things like that. apparently it's not happening.
Thank you.
Not anymore, they were there, but he either came afterwards or he didn't respond to my request.
Yeah, so the clerk had asked right before we started the meeting, did anybody else want to do public comment? Okay. Is this something that you could maybe get with Ms. Banks about? As the Director of Community Engagement, Ms. Banks can help you with that? Okay. Is there a way that you could send us a group email and Ms. Banks, or you could give it to Ms. Banks?
It should just go.
I just don't want to make it a precedent and start to do that. So it's like we have this in place. I don't know if you come. I understand.
I'm not sure how to sign in.
Yes, so the last thing that before we started the meeting was the clerk say, is there anybody who wants to make public comment that hasn't made public comment? Come up, but I definitely just don't, my goal is just to not make this a practice. Okay?
Observance. Okay. Good evening. My name is Sandra Gibson.
Mike.
Use the mic.
Okay. Okay. Good evening. My name is Sandra Gibson. And in reference to the village board agenda item pertaining to the village buying the vacant used car lot adjoining the village-owned vacant car dealership at 5th and Roosevelt. A couple days ago, I received an email from a concerned person who has an interest in helping Maywood progress. The email included the following words: it could be a good thing that the village is in the process of acquiring the lot next to the vacant dealership it owned for the last 7 to 8 years. It's unfortunate that the village didn't submit a no-cash bid years ago and got the tax deed, thereby saving $360,000. Okay. And using that money instead for actual work on the site rather than spending it on the purchase. Okay. However, the person went on to write, however, the village is buying only one of the 3 remaining pins needed to control the entire site of the vacant car dealership. One of those 3 pins is owned by the Cook County Land Bank. The other 2 are still owned by the seller who's selling the 315 Roosevelt lot and who owes hundreds of thousands of dollars in delinquent taxes. The concerned person wrote, why aren't these 2 pins included in the purchase agreement? After a lengthy conversation with this person, I got some clarity. My question for the board is, does the village have plans to try to acquire the remaining 2 pins? Okay, what the board, the village manager, mayor, and trustee need to know is that if an owner of a property does not pay the property taxes on that property, the village can acquire the property for a no-cash bid. I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice, but a no-cash bid is a legal process in Illinois where you can get ownership of a property without having to pay any cash for the property. A no-cash bid gives the right to petition a court for the ownership of the property for little money out of pocket other than attorney fees, filing fees, and court costs. It is the same process the Cook County Land Banks has used to acquire properties within the village. I was told that the village does not have to wait until a tax sale. You can pursue a no-cash bid at any point when there are delinquent taxes certified by the county and the property pin has not been sold at a tax sale. So again, I'll conclude with the question for the board. Does the village have plans to try to acquire the remaining 2 pins with a no-cash bid? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so, and thinking about the demolitions, Ms. Robinson, this week there's actually 4 demolitions that are taking place. We are working through the Strong Communities Program. It's a grant program that we have 2 different sets of demolitions that we're working on. So if you look back a couple of board meetings ago, there was a list of properties that we had presented. And then in 2 other board meetings, we also had approved the demolition of those properties as well. So if you could get with Ms. Banks or Director Duncan, one of them can provide you a list of all of the properties that we have on the demo list. and then we're just going through them. Some of them require different processes that we have to hit, so that's why they'll come up on different board packets at different times. But what we did was, I want to say this was like fourth quarter last year, we put a list out to the residents of all the properties that we were going to focus on demoing, and then asked if anybody had any other properties that were on the list to let us know, and we would look into if those are eligible for demolition as well. So that list is with the Building and Code Department, but we definitely, trust me, I want everything that needs to be torn down, and everything that can be revitalized to be revitalized. So we're working on that. So you're just seeing one property on this list, but there's 4 properties being torn down this week. All right, so Ms. Redmond, so what you're seeing on the board packet of the $25,000 for the pool funds, that's not the village money, that's the recreational tax. So the recreational tax on your board, on your taxes, that's the $150,000 that we get on your bill, that you get on your bill every year. The $150,000 is literally to take care of the 200 building and the pool and Veterans Park. So if we would have had the pool open this year, then it would have gone to maintenance and keeping the pool open. But since the pool is being redone within the Reimagine Maywood of the whole 18 acres that this project is on, the swimming pool at Palazzo East is being utilized. So it's actually, we would have used more money of the recreational tax if we had used the pool. But this is the $25,000 out of the specific recreational tax. So it's not that we're using tax dollars from other space. It's literally for the pool. So they're restoring that Palazzo East. So that's what the $25,000 is for. And then, if you're looking at the last board meeting when we approved the expenditure of the remaining $200,000, so this was when we made the agreement to transfer the 6 parks to the park district. So in transferring the 6 parks to the park district, in that agreement, there was $100,000 within the first year to be given because our parks are 30 years old, so to help redo the parks. And then there was also in the second year $100,000. So what we did at the last board meeting, because we're replacing 3 parks this year, preferably 4 actually, those parks, that park equipment needed to get purchased, and it was to match a grant. So again, that was within an agreement that we made when we agreed to transfer the parks, because there were several of the parks that are so old that they couldn't even be insured by the Illinois Park and Recreation Association. So it's not that we're just giving money to the park district. It's specifically for the 6 parks that the village is transferring that are 20 to 30 years old, that are outdated, that can't be insured. And then that's on this board packet, it's literally for the swimming, which is what the recreational tax is for. Talk about 5th and Roosevelt. So I guess I can answer both at one time with Ms. Gibson as well. So there are 8 pins in total of that project. The village already owns the other pins. What we're doing right now, for the one last property, it wasn't a part, it was a separate sale piece, but for the development that we're looking at, which would be mixed-use residential type space, we need control of the entire 6 acres of land. So that purchase is going through. The last 2 pins that you're thinking about, we're in litigation about right now. So the goal is to have all of those pins. It's just each different pin and a different process. And looking at the grocery store, Ms. Redmond, so we agreed, I want to say 2 board meetings ago, to sell the grocery store to Living Fresh. So Living Fresh, that's in Forest Park. They're looking at this being their 2nd location. Right now, the governor's office is working with Living Fresh in the village of Maywood for the grocery initiative that he announced back in February, where they're selecting 6 to 8 different grocery stores throughout the state to do a full renovation of. So we are working in partnership with Speaker Welch, Senator Lightford, and the governor's office to make sure that the village of Maywood is selected, so that we're literally not putting any money into it. It would all come from state funds under the new grocery initiative that he announced in February. Then you spoke about, furniture. So when furniture is left out of things like that, that's what we ask for either people to download the My Civic app and submit that, or you can contact Director Banks for community engagement, and she can get that taken care of for you. Under the new LRS contract that we signed last year, you are able to put out 2 bulk items weekly. So the 2 bulk items go out weekly. If it's a mattress, they're asking that the mattress be covered. So we have the coverings at Village Hall if a person needs to get the mattress covers to cover them. If something's been out for 3 weeks, I can't imagine why it's been out for 3 weeks. that's those moments of if trash day has passed in your area and it's still out, if you could just call Ms. Banks, she can get on top of that with the building facilities and lands team or public works. And I think that answered everything. You said something about fencing. You said something about a fence? Okay, I just wrote fencing down. I didn't know why. Okay, all right. So that answers public comment. 11, village manager's report. There are several different items that are on the omnibus agenda. Does anybody have any questions in regards to anything on the village manager's report?
Yes.
Trustee Brandon?
Yes, so I had an opportunity to read the report from the village manager. I am concerned about the firefighters union's contract. That would like to, you can let me know off the record what are those 3 sticking points that you mentioned in your report. The other item is in the early part of the budget year, or when we were putting together the budget, there were a conversation, and I don't see it in, or haven't seen it in any of the reports in regards to us beautifying those signature areas throughout the village, specifically around the train station and around our entryways. I know we have monies in the budget to address it. Just want to know what's the timeline on that. And then the final piece, and I asked about this at the last meeting, and it's on the agenda in regards to the park district situation. I wanted a breakdown of how many or how much money has been spent already as it relates to our agreement and where we're at with that agreement. So if I get a breakdown in regards to how much we have spent and how much do we currently owe in regards to the agreement that we had. And I saw the report and the update from the village attorney in regards to the conveyance of the parks that were located or that within the first phase that will be a closing scheduled for later this month. And so I just want to know from the financial standpoint where we're at as it relates to our obligations within our agreement to the park district. I know I mentioned that before, so if we can provide some update or maybe get Lanier to provide with update in regards to those things.
All right, we'll get Director Satchel to give you an update on that. And then Manager Christie will get you an update on the other item. All right.
Mayor?
Trustee Jones?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about letter K, which is the facility use agreement with the Maywood Public Library. And I'm sorry, for whatever reason, the agenda online, I can't pull it up, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. But I wanted to see if there's been, or to kind of bring up, has there been any discussion about the land adjacent to, in between the train tracks and the Maywood Public Library. I know we've been talking about this campus idea in terms of from Fifth Avenue to First, Oak Street or Great Hampton Way. I'd like to know what their plans are with that, with that piece of land, and if there's any opportunities, or how that fits into that, comprehensive plan, because I think there's opportunities for the village to use it if it's not going to be used by the park district, and we can kind of negotiate what those are. But again, I don't know if it was mentioned here, I doubt it, but I just want to know, has there been any conversation other than the new executive director? So
Yeah, so Trustee, in the new grant that we're operating off of for the downtown revitalization and the 18-acre project, in the actual proposal, it's proposed for land acquisition. So we're looking at that space to become the new village hall that was there before. So the village hall that, I guess, the roof fell in about 25 years ago, looking at that space to be occupied. So within this feasibility study that's being done, the RFP that was put out by Community Development Department has about 10 days left on it. It's due June 30th. But within that feasibility, it's focusing on, and within the grant that we got, acquisition of the property to the village hall.
Yeah.
Is
So-
the library aware of these?
The library-
Like, what are
The library is aware of it, and the library is also a part of the Reimagining Maywood. So like the first meeting that we had the other week on that Tuesday, where we had the residents come put the sticky tabs around. We're doing another one of those tomorrow morning. And then the library is in partnership and working to get this through as well. So the library director is aware, the board is aware. It's just putting together a feasibility study and getting that done. And the goal is to have that done by the end of August.
Also, they don't have any plans for that.
The only plan that the director shared was he wanted some beehive or something that really could be implemented in the green space that we're already doing within the space. So initially, if you go like years back, they were supposed to add an additional building to the library, but that never happened. So right now, the plan or the understanding that their board is aware of and that their director is aware of is the village would like to get that land back to the village hall there. So anything else that they have planned is more green space oriented, so they're a part of the incorporating of the green space for the proposal that should be done by the end of August. Because we have to get the proposal done by the end of August in order to apply for the OSLOT grant in September. Trustee Brandon.
Yeah, I guess hearing this conversation is new to me in regards to,
You approve the grant?
no, what I'm saying is, when we talk about purchasing land from the library for it. So like, I haven't seen anything that come across, anything that I've reviewed in regards to any asking prices or.
We're not there yet. That's what the whole feasibility study is for. So all you've seen so far is the fact that we were applying for the grant, and within the grant that you saw the language of, it was acquiring that property for Village Hall. So you haven't, it's not at that phase yet. So the RFP that's out on the 30th, when we actually get all those engineers and get those teams going, that's when we'll get that final information. So right now, we're just doing community listening sessions, but you haven't seen any of that paperwork yet because the process isn't at that point yet.
And I just want to make sure that we, are very clear, not only with ourselves, but also to the community, as a whole, as it relates to, purchasing the property, what direction we're going in, making sure that it's very clear to everybody, especially the residents, in regards to the Village of Maywood's desire to purchase the lot on adjacent to the library. I think it's a great idea, but we just need to make sure that everybody's part of the conversation, that we're not having sidebar or one-off conversations, and then, we're up against, time clock.
I agree. I would say, Trustee, you were at the community listening session of the first one, and it was discussed at that time too, of making that location back Village Hall. Again, there's another session that's open, that's literally for the public tomorrow, and then it's at 7:30 in the morning. So one was in the PM, one's in the AM, and then there's also one in the PM, one in the AM scheduled for July as well. And then there'll be another 2 scheduled in August for when we get to the finals, so that when we actually start applying for the OSLOT grant funding and we actually start focusing on the next phase, we would have had 6 community open house meetings. All right. 12, under Village Attorney's Report. Village Attorney, did you want to report on anything, or does anybody have any questions for the attorney? All right. Trustee Brandon.
And I think that just for the purpose of us keeping the public informed and abreast, for item C, if you can just reiterate.
So item C is regarding the real estate purchase and sale agreement for 315 West Roosevelt with Noble Reed, not included solely, but in the capacity as the bankruptcy trustee for the LLC. Attorney Johnson, aside from what was already said, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. The village is going to acquire that piece of property that sits within a TIF. We're able to use TIF dollars, so it's not an impact on the general fund. That is a land acquisition, land assembly activity, so it's an eligible TIF expense, and the goal is to acquire and hold and repurpose the property as part of the larger development that ultimately the village board would weigh in on.
All right.
And then for, under the same, the attorney report for the conveyance of the park, you can provide an update for that.
Absolutely, trustee. With respect to the Park District transactions, we had a phase one group of parks that were going to be conveyed from the village to the Park District, and then we had a phase two set of parks to be conveyed later by the village to the Park District. Phase one closings, I believe it's 3 parks, will occur within the next 2 weeks. All the title issues have been resolved, and we're holding up the process. Title documents and conveyance documents have been exchanged by Mike Mars in my office and the Park District Attorney. So we're good to go. We're just arranging for a closing to happen within the next couple of weeks. I fully expect to come back at the July meeting and let him advise of those transactions having completed. And then once we get those completed and kind of under our belts, we will refocus on the phase two properties. One of the phase one properties really was sort of the fly in the ointment that slowed everything down, a lot of title issues. If the phase two properties don't have the same type of title issues, those should move much more efficiently. But I'll give you a better idea in July on, kind of the timing of what we think the phase two closings, what pace those will occur at. But the good news is phase one should be, those closings should happen within the next 2 weeks.
And phase one includes what parks?
Connor Heights,
Connor Heights.
Waterworks.
And Mike Mars is handling this.
I think it's Boston.
Bosco.
I think it's Boston.
Hang on, I'll confirm that real quick.
And then, Mayor, I have a question about the parks.
Trustee
Maybe it's
Jones?
geared toward the village manager. So, just to confirm, since we're anticipating that we're going to be officially transferring these phase one of the parks in a couple of weeks, by the next board meeting, I'm under the impression that up until this point, we've been maintaining the parks. And so, is it fair to assume that we will no longer be maintaining the parks up to this point? That was the agreement, is that so the agreement high level was that we're transferring the parks. There was resources needed in order to get the parks up to par. That was the commitment that we made. And then before we got to the transfer, we were going to maintain the parks. This was like a 3-year situation. First year, or at the time, first year was maintained, then the next year is going to be phase one, and the next year will be phase two. So I'm just kind of making sure that's the expectation. So as of July 1, or what is this, June? Yeah, just like July 1, we're going to be done, no maintenance, Village of Maywood.
Yes, so trustee, in the agreement that we did, in year 1, we were still taking care of all 6 parks. And then in year 2, 3 of the parks fell off for us to keep taking care of 3, and then they take care of 3. So this is the year that they should be taking care of their parks.
And that starts July 1st, or whenever.
So once the agreement goes through.
I do have the parks. It is Connor Heights Memorial Park, Winfield Scott Park, and Waterworks Park. Those are the phase ones, and those are teed up for, like I said, in the next couple of weeks to close.
All right. 15, I'm with agenda. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by trustee Sanchez. I need a second. Need a second. Second by trustee Williams. Please read down the list.
Letter A, motion to approve the monthly financial report in the amount of $1,799,440. $1,799,440.44. Sorry, that's a lot of fours. Letter B, motion to approve the warrant list number 200538 dated June 16, 2023, in the amount of $3,641,282.77. C, motion to approve purchase of a new S740 Bobcat vehicle from the Atlas Bobcat of Elk Grove Village, in the amount of $89,807, adjusted to account for trading value and purchase of extra equipment. For quotation dated May 5, 2023, with a waiver of the competitive competitive bidding process. Staff memo dated May 5th, 2023 from Director of Public Works. Letter D, motion to approve the purchase of an EnviroSite Bluetooth sewer camera for the new Vector truck model 2100I from Standard Equipment Company of Elmhurst, Illinois, in an amount of $12,000 for wasting May 31st, 2023, for the waiver of the competitive bidding process. E, motion to approve the purchase and installation of 6 sets of emergency lights for 6 code enforcement department vehicles from ABC Automotive Electronics, Forest Park, Illinois, from quote date May 15, 2023, for an amount not to exceed $9,000. Letter F, motion to approve purchase of 2 police department vehicles, a 2023 Ford Police Interceptor Utility, all-wheel drive, from Monty Fleet of Melrose Park, Illinois. For quote dated May 29, 2023, for an amount equal to $84,160 with a waiver of the competitive bidding process and moving the purchasing of the Ford government pricing concession program. Letter G, motion to approve payment of $25,000 from the Village Recreation Tax Fund to the Maywood Park District for village contribution to staffing, security, and operational costs of the Park District's pool program for 2023 pool session that provides a release. Letter H, motion to ratify the approval and execution of the facility use agreement with the Maywood Public Library District. Letter I, motion to authorize the approval and execution of a 3-month agreement with ADT for the mobile security per the ADT commercial proposal and sales agreement dated June 14, 2023. Letter J, motion to direct village staff and village attorney to prepare the necessary documents for approval at a future village board meeting application for the AMAP sale, rural vacation of the Village Parkway, right-of-way parcel adjacent to 158 South 19th Avenue property. Letter K, resolution authorizing the waiver of the competitive bidding process and approving and authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with Conoco Minolta Business Solutions USA Inc. for business process management improvement project, 60-month term, $1,267.85 per month. 3 new color photocopiers with eFax capability, data security and protection features, and maintenance services included. Letter L, resolution approving the First Amendment in satisfaction of the redevelopment agreement between the Village of Maywood and 1900 Maywood LLC developer and BP Pecos LLC owner for the sale and redevelopment of real property commonly known as 1000 South 19th Avenue. Letter M, ordinance authorizing the approval of an application for the Village TIF Matching Business Improvement Program grant for Covenant Health Ambulance Service for building rehabilitation and parking lot improvements at 1311 South 5th Avenue property located in the Madison Street 5th Avenue TIF Tax Increment Financing District, and for the appropriation and expenditure the Madison Street 5th Avenue Tax Increment Financing District funds to pay for the TIF eligible redevelopment costs related to the grant application. Ordinance authorizing the approval and execution of real estate purchase and sale agreement between Neville Reed as bankruptcy trustee for LLC 107CH12487 and the Village of Maywood for the purchase by the Village of the 315 West Roosevelt Road located in the Roosevelt Road Tax Increment Financing District, and for the appropriation and expenditure of Roosevelt Road Tax Increment Financing District funds to pay for the purchase of real estate and other TIF eligible redevelopment costs related to the purchase. Letter O, ordinance authorizing the creation and issuance of Class C liquor license, temporary special event liquor license for non-village owned property to applicant Legends Grill for the grand opening celebration special event to be held at the 9 North 5th Avenue property. Special event date is July 7, 2023. Letter P, ordinance authorizing a waiver of the competitive bid process in lieu of solicitation of competitive proposals and authorizing the approval and execution of demolition contract proposal with Low Proposal Wrecking and Excavation Inc. of Chicago, Illinois, to demolish an abandoned, dilapidated, unsafe structure at 1323 South 5th Avenue, property located within the Madison Street Financing District and for the appropriation expenditure of Madison Street Fifth Avenue Tax Increment Financing District funds to pay for the TIF eligible redevelopment costs related to the demolition work. Letter Q, ordinance amending Title 9, General Regulations, Chapter 99, towing of vehicles, Section 99.26, aggravated fleeing and eluding a peace officer, impoundment of the Village of Maywood, the Maywood Village Code, an administrative penalty for violation.
Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Sanchez,
Aye.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Lightfoot, trustee Peppers,
Aye.
trustee Brandon,
Aye.
Mayor Booker,
Aye.
motion carried.
All right, we have 16A, consideration and motion to approve village president appointments, trustee committees.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve, I need a second.
Second.
Second by trustee Williams. If there are no questions, please call the roll.
Mayor.
Trustee Brandon.
Yes, so I do have a concern with the recommendation that you have down for me. I'm willing to compromise as it relates to what you have recommended. I would like to remain as it relates to community engagement. The second one, I'm willing to compromise on that one. You have removed me from the finance as a finance co-chair. So yeah, I'm willing to compromise on that one. But as it relates to the recommendation, I think it's best that we have conversations at this dais as it relates to what we collectively think and what we collectively think we will be best suited or best fitted. And that conversation is happening now. And so again, I'm willing to compromise as it relates to the recommendation that you have made. But that is my piece in regards to that.
Okay. So I guess I would say in regards to that thought process, trustee, the reason that I took you off of community engagement and put you on infrastructure is because you were the chair of community engagement for nearly 2 years and you did not come to many community engagement activities. Multiple times that I've asked you for meetings and multiple times that I wanted to bring you in to talk about community engagement, you were busy, you had to work, you would not come to meetings. I asked the community development director multiple times for meetings with you, nor could we never have meetings. Even to this point right now, this is the third time this is on the board packet, right? I sent emails. This was on this is the third meeting this has been on the board packet. I even sent the email last Tuesday, specifically talking about committees and commissions, and literally asked for anyone who had questions, comments, or concerns to call me or get with Ms. Banks to schedule a time. When it comes to community engagement and communications, that's a big one that I'm truly focused on with the community engagement team. You are not, you don't come to, when I ask you to have meetings, we don't have meetings. I think it would be great if you start showing up to more of the community engagement activities, but even as you just did today, nobody but you knows anything about this July 12th event that you just brought up. That's a trustee Brandon thing. When we did joint events for Thanksgiving, when we partnered with the Quinn Center, you did a trustee Brandon turkey giveaway. When we partnered and did a back to school bash, and you did a trustee Brandon's backpack giveaway. When we did the Christmas joint event with 13 Positive and multiple other organizations, you did a trustee Brandon's Miracle in Maywood. So when you do your own personal branding events, but you don't put anything on the agenda for community engagement and communications for the Village of Maywood, that's why I did not leave you on community engagement. When we have joint events with different organizations, you do your own thing. As you see a full calendar of the summer, you scheduled the one Saturday the one day to do your thing over at A&M. You're not promoting the events that we already have on the calendar. You're not promoting anything. If we look at the last 2 years, you do not promote Village of Maywood events. However, even today, you just scheduled and announced your own personal event, while at the same time, you have a full summer community calendar of activities. So that is why I did not put you on engagement and communications.
Mayor,
Trustee Brandon?
I know you like to run things as if it's a dictatorship. This is not that type of form of government. In my meetings with you and conversations I've had with you, they have been unproductive. You wanted me to address you as the president and CEO. And so those conversations have proven to be unproductive. How you like to operate is a dictatorship, your way or the highway, and that doesn't work. And let me give you some history, because I know you may not have it. I've been doing community engagement events in the village of Maywood and hosting different events as village of Maywood as a whole before you even moved into the village of Maywood. So let's clear that up, first of all. And so when I arrived on this board, it was I that organized the Safe Summer Maywood Community Initiative. That was me. Before you lived in the village of Maywood, I've been on the grounds doing community engagement events. And so I know how you like to operate, and whatever comes of the situation, I'm still going to be active. I know you're looking for ways to try to stop, prohibit, limit, or whatever it may be. But I'm going to find a way to continue to do what I do, because that's just what I do. And so as it relates to how you operate and how you like to do things, it's just a book away. And you have folks who agree with that style, but we were elected to be involved, to be engaged in the community, and that's exactly what I'm doing. That's what I have been doing for the past 8 years since I've been on this board. And so you talk about this calendar and movement report. It is all about you. It is the book of show. And if anybody else have any ideas, even the youth delegation, let's really bring it all on the table since we're having this collective conversation. Let's even talk about the youth delegation. It was I that brought it to the village of Maywood, when folks was hesitant about even allowing the whole thing to even take place. We still found a way to go. We went. It was a huge success. And you know it was a success. And that's why you are attempting to even hijack that. And you have proved it to be a hijack. And that's another thing. There's no trust, to begin with, to even bring anything to you, because it's all about you. All about you. All about Booker. And so, as it relates to us even coming to the table, and I've been trying to identify ways to humble myself, to identify with your leadership style, but I haven't found a way yet. I have not found a way to deal with your leadership style, simply because it's all about you. It's the book of show, and you think that you're like Superman coming to save the day, when that's not the case. And so for me, as it relates to my involvement and what I've been doing in the village, it speaks for itself. So I don't need you to validate what I've been doing as it relates to bringing different initiatives to the village of Maywood as village initiatives that the village has done. The back to school giveaway, I've been doing it for the past 18 years, since I was in high school. And then brought it over on the village end as a village initiative. Same thing with the Safe Summer Initiative. Same thing with the Youth Delegation Initiative. So when you start, trying to be petty, let's make sure you're speaking with the facts when it relates to me and my involvement in the community, because my record is long. Well, before you even move to the village of Maywood, sir, so don't do it. Please don't do it. And so, however it comes, we'll vote, and I'm done with it. But what you just stated, it's got me riled up a little bit. So I got to calm myself down. Because I'm like, man, this man hasn't been in the village long enough to even know what I've been involved in or what initiatives I brought to the table. No, I don't go along with that whole. This is like we're on a plantation. We're following book. No. I have we should all, as leaders that were elected, have our own individual ideas that we want to implement. But I already know what the game plan was from the get-go, as it relates to some of these commissions that you put together. It was to limit and to prohibit trustees from really being involved and really from being engaged. You want everything to come through you, like it's a kiss the ring type of situation. No, it don't work like that. It's not that type of government. This is not, I know you're looking at the neighboring communities. We're none of those neighboring communities. And so, again, I was trying to, compromise, but, you don't need to have that in your blood, because it's all about you. And so, again, that is what I'm asking my colleagues on the dais, because they're voting members, and they were elected to listen and to, vote on what they've heard and vote on, the facts. So, you can.
Thank you for that, trustee. What I will say is, everyone's heard how he feels. So why would you be the chair of literally the only committee that interacts with me? I don't understand that logic. You have the community calendar on the September, October, November, and January board packet before we did the budget, before we approved the budget for this year. We did not add any events. The agenda for different things coming on the community calendar or coming for the summer, or even when we did the budget, you did not add any additional events. It was you were the chair of the committee, right? So to say that it's the Booker show, but for almost 2 years, the chair of community engagement didn't add anything to the agenda, how does that make that the Booker show? When you sit there month after month before we got to budget season, and you see what's being proposed for the year, you say nothing. Then, even when you were co-chair of the finance committee, and you see the different things being added to the budget to fund the things for the year, you say nothing. And even as you sit here today, you're scheduling a separate event on top of the entire summer calendar that's already posted on the Village of Maywood's website. And that is perfectly your prerogative. That is perfectly your right to do so. And trustee, I don't think anything that I said tried to take away anything that you've done for the community. But again, you keep referencing when I moved into the community. Trustee, my family's been in this community since 1960. And I definitely was a teenager living in the Village of Maywood with my grandparents when my parents got divorced. So when you say things like, way before you got to the community, that type of combativeness in a board meeting is not necessary. If I'm asking you for 30 days, more than 30 days at this point, so let's talk about this, not at a board meeting. I've sent emails, made phone calls, Ms. Banks has called. You've gotten it on a board packet now 3 times, and you wait until right now to do this display. That's gotta stop. With that said, there's a motion. Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
No.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Old business, 17A, ordinance amending the Maywood zoning ordinance and official zoning map of the village relative to the location, development, installation, construction, licensing, and operation of barbershops, hair salons, nail shops, live music permits, pop-up retail stores, special event spaces, tobacco shops, and fast food restaurants, the creation of entertainment district overlay, and to make various other changes. I need a motion.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by trustee Sanchez, second by trustee Williams. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
No.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Pepper.
No.
Trustee Brandon.
Well,
Are you thinking, Trustee
And I'm gonna just say no.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion failed.
Okay, so I'm really lost on this one. There was a 120-day moratorium. The Planning and Zoning Commission has done their work and their due diligence. Planning and Development Committee went through their due diligence. Ordinance and Policy Committees went through their due diligence. Liquor Commission, Tobacco Commission went through their due diligence. We did an extension of the 45 days to make sure this was done. It's done. Literally, aside from sabotage. Why are you voting no?
Mayor,
Trustee Williams.
motion to reconsider the vote. Second.
Motion by Trustee Williams, second by Trustee Brandon.
Hang on, it's gotta be somebody.
Oh,
who-
Trustee Brandon, you would have to make the
Correct.
motion, and then Trustee Williams would have to approve.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to reconsider.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
And this is just on to
Questions?
Oh,
put
reconsider.
it back
On
on
the
the
agenda,
table.
next board meeting or now?
You can do it now.
Yeah, okay, so motion to, is the motion to reconsider, is the motion to approve?
Yeah, I wanted
It's
to,
a motion to reconsider your motion, so you're gonna, if this passes, you'll put it back on the table and you go back to square one and you'll say, okay, we're gonna do a motion to approve or not.
All right, so we need a vote to reconsider.
Yes.
Then once we reconsider, a vote to
Yes.
put it back on the agenda. Okay, so please call the roll to reconsider.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion to reconsider carried.
All right, so I need a motion to approve now.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Trustee Williams. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Brandon. Please call the roll.
Discussion. Discussion.
Oh, Trustee Jones.
No, I want to know why you want to reconsider.
I wanted to bring up Angela to give us some update in regards to where we at with it.
Good evening, Mayor, Attorney, Board of Trustees. Want me to?
Yeah, so if we can just provide some context as it relates to
This,
where we started and where we at today with it.
this is the finish line. Essentially, the moratorium was put in place in order to study these businesses. And in order to study it, the board sent it to Planning Commission for public hearing. Public hearing is where all the delineation takes place with PCZBA. They had their public hearing. There was also community workshops in regards to the moratorium. We did those, and the Plan Commission has brought forth their recommendation for how to deal with the zoning updates as it relates to the businesses that were part of the moratorium. So at this point, the Plan Commission has done all of their work, and they have put it back before you for your final.
You know, and I had a chance to attend some of the sessions and some of the planning commission meetings, and was able to give some input and some feedback as it relates to some of the things I was looking for, specifically to the areas of that the 50 Quincy, to the Madison Street area. So that was concerning to me.
See that reflected?
Yes, and so I know that was addressed, and that was one of the concerns, to make sure that we didn't leave any areas out in regards to potential development for entertainment, especially that area with a lot of the blight. And so that was the only concern that I had. And so, as long as that was addressed, I mean, I don't have, any other, concerns. I don't know if my colleagues have any other concerns in regards to, if they thought that something should have been included that's not included.
Mayor,
Trustee Jones.
Angela, could you speak to, so I know my understanding of, well, actually, I'm surprised that you're surprised that I haven't been for this moratorium since the beginning, and
But we're voting to end it.
I don't know, I understand it, but that's also in addition to whatever these amendments are to the zoning, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, trustee. Those are the ones.
I understand. I went to the community meetings and I'm also on the board, so this is where I get to chime in. So there's a couple items that I wanted to talk about. So the drive-through discussion, and I wish I can't pull up my agenda, so I'm sorry I can't review it at the moment. But what was the amendments related to drive-through establishments?
The drive-through establishments were in regards to, that is how we effectively addressed the fast food, right? It was very difficult to actually define fast food. It's actually very objective, right? Usually, there's all types of definitions that are out there. High calorie, low nutrition, drive-throughs, things like that. So, in light of not really being able to pin down, that definition of fast food, the Plan Commission felt strongly about limiting the number of drive-throughs in what would be the C2 district, which is kind of which is a lot of the entertainment district where we're trying to promote a pedestrian-friendly area as it is. So the Plan Commission felt that it would be beneficial to not have all of those, not have drive-throughs in that district, so that we could drive business to hopefully sit down healthier options and not have it while promoting more of a pedestrian-friendly area for people to walk and go to various entertainment venues and healthier options for restaurants.
And then the C2 zoning, does that include First Avenue?
No, First Avenue is C3 zoning, which is more of your high auto-oriented types of businesses. First Avenue is also, First Avenue and Roosevelt Road are both C3. Those are your auto-oriented. When we say auto-oriented, we mean fast-paced cars. Those are also your economic development drivers, where you're going to pull people who aren't from the community, usually into your businesses along First Avenue and Roosevelt Road.
Yeah, well, my concern about the drive-through just idea in general, because it is, especially kind of coming after COVID, I think a lot of businesses, whether they were fast food or they were coffee shops or whatever, had incorporated these type of drive-throughs because people were concerned about going to some of these spaces.
Right.
And so I don't know which direction developers are going with this. I'm concerned that we might be maybe potentially limiting ourselves. I think about Fifth Avenue. I remember, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I thought there was a gentleman close to where the Jamaican grocery store is. I remember there was discussions about some sort of drive-through there.
Yeah, so for instance, there's essentially one drive-through. The Fifth Avenue as a interior node, right, is not very conducive to a drive-through, right? The lots are somewhere usually 50 by 125. on First Avenue and on Roosevelt Road, we've looked at, making larger lots so that we can have those drive-throughs and things like that. So if you look down the Fifth Avenue corridor, from Lake Street to Quincy, there's not a lot of places without assembling parcels that you could even do a drive-through. Not to mention, you have 6th Avenue, 6th Avenue on the west, right, and 4th Avenue on the east. So 5th Avenue is also buffered by residential. So having a drive-through, people coming in, your curb cutting 5th Avenue, from a planning perspective, it doesn't work. It doesn't work anyway. It's the Plan Commission, felt that our main arterials is First Avenue and Roosevelt Road gives us the opportunity to have those drive-throughs.
Well, that makes sense. I guess that was my, well, you clarified that it wasn't C2. Like, to me, it almost seems like if you don't have the space to do it anyway, we're adding in rules that aren't really even applicable.
Exactly. We've gone back and forth about 4th Avenue and 6th Avenue, those kind of being as, homes become available and things like that. But you must remember that 5th Avenue is an interior, that's an interior neighborhood to our neighborhood.
Okay. And then as far as new locations wanting to come into the village, and this is just for the 5th Avenue corridor, correct?
For the 5th Avenue corridor there, right, the drive-through.
No, I meant like as far as this amendment, like this is just for C2 zones?
Oh, no, those are zoning updates throughout the zoning code, chapter 154, but then also the next item are actual business regulations that go along with that, which are in the village code.
Okay. No,
Trustee Sanchez.
So, okay, so here's just a couple more questions I just want to make sure are clear. So if a new business wants to come into the village and they're a barber shop, what are some new things based on this that they need to know? Like what has changed? If I'm a barber shop, if I'm if I'm interested in opening up a hair salon or a banquet hall, what after today, if this passed, what new information do they need to know?
So there are restrictions as far as barbershops being able to locate within a certain distance. I think it's 1,000 feet from another barbershop. The ordinance really moves to have more of these type of self-care suites where barbershops and beauty shops and estheticians and things like that can all come together in one space instead of and having the highest and best use for for these like smaller places along Fifth Avenue. So that's one of the largest changes as far as barbershops are concerned.
Well, barbershops or anything that's named here. So if you're a barber or any of these listed items, so you need to know that you can't be within 1,000 feet of an already existing
Barbershop.
unless you're grandfathered in. So unless you're already there, then that's the case.
Right.
And my last question is, so landlords of Maywood's mixed-use properties, commercial properties where these are already existing, what's been their feedback? Are they excited about this? Are they happy about this? Like the tobacco shops, like what's been their feedback? Do they think this is going to promote growth and this is what they've been looking for? Are they going to, tell people not to come here because you can't be? I guess I'm trying to figure out what's been their stance. Because ultimately, I'm hoping what this is accomplishing is growth and buy-in. So is that the feedback that we've gotten? I know we've had community meetings, and it's good to get residents' feedback. It's good to get board members' feedback. The business owners, like current ones and interested ones, what's been your understanding of what their feedback has been towards this? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Have you not heard much? Or what's been your feedback?
Well, we did have a community meeting, we did have some community meetings, in regards to the barber shops and beauty shops and things like that. We got a lot of feedback from, people who are more interested in opening more of these, self-care facilities, these larger facilities where barbers and beauty shops kind of cohabitate, there. So we received that feedback. I think the mayor received an applause at one meeting where the question was posed in regards to, smoke shops and liquor stores and things like that. The residents made it abundantly clear that this is something that they do not want any more of. I think that, that was one of the community meetings as well. We did have businesses also come out to the planning commission. We didn't hear anything as far as, anyone that is opposed to it.
And then I could add on, we also had the Liquor and Tobacco Commission meeting where the new owner of the cigar lounge, he gave feedback and talked about it throughout the meeting. And then also Legends was applying for their liquor license. They gave feedback as new businesses establishing for them.
How about the chamber? What's been their feedback?
Well, let's see. So from the chamber meeting, I think we had a couple of chamber members at the meeting, but we haven't had any feedback, per se. I have attended, I just attended today a chamber meeting, and I didn't hear any feedback.
I guess that's kind of like a little concerning, but they don't have any feedback against zoning changes for the business district. But they're aware. There's no comments.
Yeah. I mean, we started with a workshop, plan commission workshop. We went to a Let's Talk Maywood workshop, came back to public hearing, came before this board. Our zoning consultant addressed this board.
And I'm gonna wrap up my promise. My other issue, I know I reached out about Burger King on First Avenue. On First Avenue and Lake. So with that drive-through situation, if another fast food restaurant wanted to go there, since it's C3, it's fine.
That would be a C3.
So
that whole
that 1,000 feet thing doesn't apply, even though it says fast food.
Exactly.
Please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
And Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
B, I need a motion and ordinance amending various sections of the Title 10 Business Regulation of the Village of Maywood Code relative to the licensing and regulation of various uses and activities, including live entertainment, tobacco shops, smoking lounges, banquet halls, special event spaces, BYOB regulation, and sales of alcohol, liquor, and tobacco. Need a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Brandon. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Williams. If there are no questions, please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
And Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, I need a motion to go in the closed meeting session to discuss A, pending litigation, B, prominent and probable and imminent litigation, D, the purchase or lease of real estate property for use by the village, and E, the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the village.
Motion to go into closed meeting session.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Brandon, second by Trustee Sanchez. If there are no questions, please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Pepper.
Aye.
Pepper. Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried. Time is 8:35.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.